Hi guys, it's Marissa here, and today I come to you after the highly anticipated land tax draft bill has been released by the Liberal government. So it was released on Monday night, and it has been released for 3 weeks of consultation before it potentially will get looked at again before it gets submitted to Parliament for voting. So I guess in the lead up to this draft bill being released, there was a lot of angst and panic in the business and property world in South Australia in relation to what impact aggregation of land tax would have on property investors, in particular mum and dad property investors and self-funded retirees, and what impact and flow-on effects it would have on the wider South Australian economy and the wider South Australian property market and property values, which would impact potentially all property owners. So basically, the property and the business sector have been asking for aggregation to be removed from the policy. There's very few people out there that do agree that aggregation is the right policy. But surprise, surprise, the Liberal government has decided that it will stick to its guns and that it will continue to implement an aggregation policy in their draft bill. So after weeks and weeks of consultation and the government saying they were going to consult, they've come out with exactly the same model that they announced at the state budget discussion. So basically what they've come out with is that there is an aggregation model proposed, and that basically means that anyone that owns property jointly with their spouse or in a trust or in a company will now see that those property holdings will be aggregated with properties that they hold in their individual names. What that means is that your property holdings, if you own multiple properties, are likely to lift you up in the thresholds of the land tax thresholds. So where you might have been paying 0.5% or 1% land tax, you now might be pushed up into a higher threshold, which might mean that you're paying up to potentially the highest rate, which the Liberal government are now proposing will be 2.4%. As a result of that, we are seeing that this will impact a lot of people that own over $1 million worth of land. So just to give you some examples, for someone that owns about 1.8 million, I did a scenario for someone recently that owned about $1.8 million worth of land. Their land tax bill is going up from approximately $2,000 a year to about $28,000 a year. So that's obviously a significant jump. And I've got a lot of clients and a lot of people that I know who are going to experience tens of thousands of dollars increase annually. This is an ongoing annual expense, and some that will even experience increases of more than $100,000 a year to their land tax bill. So it's obviously quite significant, and these people can't afford to pay this land tax. So what's going to happen is that they're going to be forced to sell before 30 June, which is not a very long time frame. And if they are forced to sell before 30 June, that could impact our property market, because we will have a lot of extra properties on the market between now and 30 June, which is obviously not ideal for values. So that's obviously all the issues that are coming into play. Now, in between the government's announcement at state budget and their release of the draft bill, like they did say they were doing consultation, and what they initially discussed was that they wanted to raise $40 million in extra revenue as a result of the aggregation. Now, they got a lot of slack over this because a lot of industry bodies thought that this figure was actually very incorrect. And the Property Council actually came out and said the figure's more like $120 million is what you would raise if you implemented aggregation. The Liberal government denied this, but now after months of analysis, they've come out in the media and said, actually, the Property Council were right. We were going to raise approximately $118 million they came out with. And that's why they've decided to reduce the top rate from their original proposal of 2.7 to 2.4. Now, they're pretty proud of themselves for bringing that top rate down to 2.4. And whilst that does make a little bit of a difference, it really makes a very insignificant difference to the people that aggregation is going to impact. So I'm going to call it out and say that I don't think it's good enough. And I think that we should still fight against the aggregation model. The Liberal government are wanting an aggregation model to match the land tax models that New South Wales and Victoria have, which is an aggregation model. But I would argue that we're a different state. We've got a different set of economic activity, and we need to be more innovative and more competitive than New South Wales and Victoria. We also are trying to compete with New South Wales, which has a top rate of 2%, and Victoria, which has a top rate of 2.25%, and their thresholds kick in a lot higher property values. So it's really hard to compare ourselves with them. So what we should be doing is not necessarily copying what they do and making it more expensive, but we should be trying to implement a more innovative land tax strategy that will make it fairer for everybody, and also encourage and stimulate investment growth in South Australia, which is what we really need. So I'm really keen to hear your thoughts. We do actually have a website, landtaxsa.com.au, where you can actually have your say, and you can answer a survey that we've got in there. You can sign the petition if you would like to, and you can find out more information about the draft bill. We'll also have a link on that website to the draft bill, so if you want to have a read of it, go ahead and do that. Really keen to hear your thoughts and hear whether you're worried about it, whether you're not worried about it, and if you are worried about it but you're not sure how it's going to impact you, we'd love to hear from you too, and we can help you work out the impact for yourself. So there's a long way to go with this fight. It's not over yet, and the interesting thing is whether Labor will support it in Parliament. That's what it's all coming down to, I think. And it'll be an interesting couple of months ahead as to what happens in this space. So I'll keep you updated as always, and I would be keen to hear your thoughts as well. So thanks for tuning in today. I'll tune in again next week. Thanks. Bye.